Hello everybody and welcome along to Brands Hatch for the Fuel Protect Porsche Club Championship with Pirelli. We're racing on the Grand Prix circuit this weekend. Now remember, we were on the Indy circuit at the start of the year, so a slight change in circumstances for the drivers. Some great racing coming up. Leading Class 1, it's Peter Morris. Class 2 led by David Botterill. So let's chat to a few of the drivers before racing gets underway. With Chris Dyer, former champion in the Fuel Protect Porsche Club Championship with Pirelli, former class champion as well. Clearly a series that you like staying with.
Yeah, it's a really good championship. 2010 I were champion with my 944 S2. Built two Caymans, and one for a customer and one for myself. And last time out, I managed to get it on the podium, third. And I'm getting to grips with it now, and it's a really good car. Yeah, I'm enjoying driving it.
Class 1 looks fiercely competitive to me.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I haven't raced on this GP circuit for a number of years, and it just takes a bit of getting your head around once you've driven it a bit, and I haven't been testing, so I'm happy with my 9th in qualifying and trying to stick it on podium again.
Gary Duckman's qualified in second position for our first race here at Brands Hatch. Gary, I understand that you've got a bit of history with the Grand Prix circuit here with the Club Championship.
Yeah, raced here quite a few times, and I think I had a win here in 2008 when I was racing with Club in the 968, so hopefully we can try and repeat that this weekend today.
What do you remember about that particular race?
It was challenging. I think I was running second for quite a long time behind Ian White, and he had a very wide 964, so towards the end of the race, they were 30-minute races at the time. I was able to sort of get past him. I think a lot to do with breaking him down on tyre wear, and when I finally got past it was a great feeling. So I'm trying to do the same with Pete Morris and Craig now. So
David Botterill's the championship leader coming to Brands Hatch, but David, I think a few problems today in qualifying.
Yeah, we went out in qualifying and the car didn't feel good, I didn't feel good. Lap times, cars around me were just getting past me and just pulling away, so something not quite right. Need to find out, so we can find what it is, and either me or the car's going to get better for the race.
Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit, one that you enjoy. Obviously you did really well here on the Indy circuit, our opening event, and GP that much longer, most drivers love it.
Yeah, it's a good circuit. My first ever motor race was actually here in 1989 on the Grand Prix circuit, and at the time I didn't really appreciate it and how good a circuit was and what a rare opportunity it was. Thankfully it's used more these days than it has been over the past couple of decades, but it's a good circuit and one I really enjoy.
Tim Speed is second in the standings for Class 2 and has taken the class pole position for Race 1. And I believe it's not the first time you've qualified on the Grand Prix circuit, but it's going to be the first time you've raced here.
Yeah, it's been a while as well, so it was interesting trying to learn, especially in this car, trying to learn the track. There's some very bumpy bits out the back. The car's set up for the rest of it. I don't want to spoil the setup for just one corner, but it does make that corner quite interesting. I thought, to be honest, I was going quite slow, but obviously hopefully there's stuff to improve, so it's going to be interesting. Yeah, I think the race is going to be interesting. I just got to get the start right, because Brands Hatch starts aren't my best.
Pole position then to Peter Morris with Gary Duckman on the outside. Then it's Mark McAleer and Craig Wilkins row 2. Paul Winter and Kevin Harrison on row 3. Class 2 led by Tim Speed, as we heard. Steve Cheetham lines up alongside. Jake McAleer third fastest. Andy Toon, Richard Higgins and Jonathan Evans complete the top 6 in Class 2. Lone Class 3 runner John Gilmore looking for another finish. The lights are on here at Brands Hatch. Perfect conditions. Gary Duckman in the Boxster gets a good start, but it's Peter Morris who leads away in the German flag livery to the Strasser livery, and lots of those in the field, as you can see. A very strong team indeed, and they're leading the team's championship at the moment. And here's the view from Peter Morris. Gary Duckman out front, Peter's friend and arch rival Craig Wilkins to the outside at Druids for the first time, and Morris comes across. Wilkins is on the grass but rejoins in third position. That's Mark McAleer, the 2007 champion, behind him fourth place, then Kevin Harrison. The Class 2 runners are going through as well. What a magnificent shot this is. The cars going up through Surtees and then heading onto the Grand Prix loop, coming to Pilgrim's Drop, down Hawthorne Hill, And then down to Hawthorne's where our camera is. This is an iconic shot here at Brands Hatch. And it's Gary Duckman who's the leader. Kevin Harrison coming under pressure there from Paul Winter. And they head down towards Westfield. And then Dingledale, which is where our camera is here. And then from Dingledale down into Sheen Curve. And finally round to Stirling. So that again is where our camera is. Gary Duckman leading, Peter Morris in second position, Craig Wilkins from Mark McAleer, Kevin Harrison, Paul Winter, Kareem Moody, and then the Cayman of the man we heard from at the top of the show, Chris Dyer, who's trying to pass Kareem Moody. Looks down the inside at Clearways and goes through. Very good move indeed by the Cayman. And Kareem's now coming under a bit of pressure as well from Mike Johnson, who looks to the outside line. Johnson's got a very good run here in the Silatech car and makes the move, and Kareem has lost a couple of bases, but he's going to come up to fight. Behind them you can see Steve Cheetham, who leads the Class 2s in his Boxster, and Steve running well. But here's Kareem Moody's onboard shot, so we go in car with him, and the leading Class 2 car immediately behind him. So Steve Cheetham having a terrific run here. Qualified second in class behind Tim Speed. There's Tim at the back of the shot. Tim in the silver 968. So as we can see, Mike Johnson's now got ahead of Chris Dyer, then Kareem Moody. Those two very much evenly matched. There's Natalie McGloin. And Natalie, good to see her racing in the Cayman as well, one of 3 Caymans in the race. As we go back with Mark McAleer, 4th position at present, chasing Craig Wilkins. McAleer qualified 3rd, so Craig's got the better of him off the line as the race leaders go through. And everybody very excited about the calendar this year. Obviously we're on the Indy circuit for our first event on the 2nd of May, Silverstone Grand Prix circuit in June, Donington Park last time, and here we are on the Grand Prix circuit at Brands Hatch. It's a superb championship, a very friendly paddock, the very best venues, and some terrific camaraderie in the paddock, and some great racing on track as we're going to see here from Brands. There's Craig Wilkins. Great to have him back in the championship this year. Won the first race at Silverstone. You might remember it was absolutely teeming down, wasn't it, at Silverstone, but he mastered the conditions. But it's Gary Duckman up front. Gary's the local driver here, comes from Shirley, just outside Croydon in Surrey, and he's being chased by the defending champion, Peter Morris. Peter with 4 wins under his belt this year. This is Tim Speed, second place goes across the line, and Jonathan Evans in the Fuel Protect car. He's 3rd in class at the moment, trying to hunt down the Class 2 pole setter. Back with Gary Duckman, Peter Morris trying to close in. These two having a pretty close battle of it. The Grand Prix circuit, wonderful for the drivers. There are overtaking opportunities, but you've got to pick your moment very carefully indeed. Kareem Moody back in front of Chris Dyer, so those two really enjoying their battle. And up front, Peter Morris is trying to close down on Gary Duckman. Peter's got the fastest lap of the race, so he's by no means beaten. There's Andy Toon in his Strasser liveried 968. Andy at the moment 5th in the championship behind Paul Seagrave and ahead of Jake McAleer. And there's Jonathan Evans, 3rd in Class 2 in terms of the championship position, 2nd at the moment in the race. David Botterill is the class leader, and as we heard, having a few problems in qualifying. And Jonathan Evans is closing up here on Tim Speed in the 968. Well, there's Andy Toon. We go back to Tim Speed being chased by Jonathan Evans. Jonathan, who has had 2 wins this year, both at Silverstone in class, and he's closing down on Tim Speed, but Steve Cheetham is in front of him. Now these two are going to have to decide if they want to work together or maybe and try and catch Steve, or continue a squabble. There's a little bit of a gap between the two at the moment, and I think Tim Speed wants to try and catch Steve Cheetham under his own steam at the moment. But look at the lead, 1st and 2nd, very close indeed. Great start by Gary Duckman. He wasn't that confident about his starts here, but it was a very good start, a very good run around paddock and up to Druids, the first time to take the lead. Brief look here at John Gilmore, our lone Class 3 runner. Amy Belozzi is running well in his 9.44. He'll be hoping that James Cameron will come back and give him a run at later rounds. But he's enjoying his track time here on the GP circuit. So as you can see, Craig Wilkins third, Mark McAleer in fourth position. The race leaders go out of shot, and around Westfield, Richard Higgins goes through shot. Then we've got Gary Sullivan going through. Coming up towards us here, Paul Seagrave and Natalie McGloin. Oh, problem sadly for 54, the Class 1 driver, Gary Sullivan, the Middlesbrough base driver. Here we go in car with Paul Seagrave. And Paul enjoying his battle here with Natalie McGloin. This is Natalie's first race on the Grand Prix circuit. You might remember she made her racing debut on the Indy circuit back in May and picked up her first silverware at our second event of the season at Silverstone, and very much enjoying the racing as we go back to the race leader, Gary Duckman. Welcome back to Brands Hatch for the Fuel Protect Porsche Club Championship with Pirelli, and that was a hefty knock, sadly, for Gary Sullivan in the Class 1 Cayman. Now, is that going to cause a safety car? We've got the race battle, the race lead going on between Gary Duckman and Peter Morris. We've got a Strasser battle going on here with Andy Toon dicing hard with Hugo Holmes. And we go in car with Paul Seagrave, who is chasing, and at the moment, as you can see, it's Hugo Holmes in the 24 that holds sway, 5th position in Class 2. And we've got some really good battles right the way down the order, not only in Class 1 but Class 2 as well. And Hugo goes through Paddock Hill Bend, Paul Seagrave chasing hard, but this is the battle for the overall lead. Gary Duckman, who's looking, this is only Gary's third meeting of the year, and he's had 4 races, worst result of 5th, the other 3 races all on the podium. The last 2 races at Donington, 2nd position overall, both of them second to the man that's chasing him, Peter Morris. Morris leads the championship from Mark McAleer and Paul Winter. David Botterill leading Class 2 championship from Tim Speed and Jonathan Evans. But this is really close between the two, and a game of cat and mouse, so we'll see whether Gary Duckman can hold on. We're into the second half of this, and Duckman at the moment is fending off the challenge of Morris. Morris has got the fastest lap. He's defending champion, challenging hard. Morris having a great season so far, won the opening race of the year on the Indy circuit. But back we go, Steve Cheetham goes through shot. Here's Tim Speed. Tim second in the Class 2 championship, second in the race here at the moment as well in Class 2, and Steve Cheetham is out front. Steve looking for his, not only his first win in Class 2 in the Porsche Club Championship, but also his first ever podium. So this could upset the form book a little bit. Hugo Holmes is past there. So Hugo's passed by Andy Toon. Andy now up into 5th position in class. Hugo in 6th place. There's Mike Johnson, who is dicing hard with Kevin Harrison, and we go in car with Kevin. This is pretty much his home circuit, based in Essex, and has had 2 podia so far this year. A little bit away from that in this race as Mike Johnson tries to close down on him. And here's the battle for the lead once again, coming through Stirling's, and then the run downhill into Clearways. Gary Duckman seems to have built up a little bit more of a lead once again. Steve Cheetham here in Class 2. They're the top 3 in Class 2, all going through together with Jonathan Evans at the back. And to put that in perspective, Steve Cheetham is 9th in the race at the moment. So here's Jonathan Evans, 3rd place, trying to close down on Tim Speed in 2nd. And of course, he's also trying to do that in terms of championship points as well. Gary Sullivan's car sadly parked up, you saw there, as they come down into Stirling's, and we go in car with Tim Speed, Dorset Sports Cars team, and he's teamed up with Paul Winter in the team championship. The pair of them scoring pretty well. They're fourth in the team's championship at the moment. Team Strasser A lead the team championship. RVR Racing, which is Mark and Jake McAleer and Gary Sullivan, second in the Team Cup. And County Classics, Kevin Harrison, Kareem Moody and Richard Higgins third, and Dorset Sports Cars running fourth in the championship. Sadly, problems for Natalie McGloin, who pulls up safely off the circuit. It looks like there's a problem with the Cayman. That's the first mechanical problem we've seen this year for it. So Natalie sadly having her first retirement of the year, but they'll hopefully get the car fixed and out for race number 2. Meanwhile, Jonathan Evans trying to close up on the second position in Class 2, but this the overall battle for the lead. Gary Duckman is still there as we go in car with Peter Morris along Clark Curve and onto Bradham Straight, trying to close down. It looks to me like Duckman has built the lead again as he goes on to the last lap. So this is lap 12, 20-minute race for these cars. Mike Johnson busy monstering Kevin Harrison at the moment. Johnson in the silver car is the chaser. Kevin Harrison is in 5th position and runs wide. Johnson's going to try and have a run down the inside, too far back at the moment to do anything about Kevin Harrison, who was another podium finisher here earlier on in the year. And these are the top 3 in Class 2. It's a job to know where to look, isn't it? But Steve Cheetham here is potentially on for his first win, his first podium and his first win. Jonathan Evans, though, is about to start his last lap, chasing Tim Speed, first, second and third, all in shot together in Class 2. That is very much what this championship is about. Good close racing. And on they go to the last lap. 2.4 miles around the Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit to go. And Steve Cheetham in the Boxster. Is it going to be, looks like a Boxster sandwich at the moment with a 968 of Tim Speed in the middle. Here's Peter Morris on the last lap, chasing down Gary Duckman, who I think is going to take his first win since his return to the championship. There's the number 7 car. So it's Boxster from 996 at the moment. Morris is trying to close up. He has got closer over the last lap, but I think Gary Duckman is in position to hang on to this. But Morris is closing up as they head out of Clark Curve and onto the Bradham Straight. But no, Gary Duckman is going to take the win. Duckman indeed does win. Peter Morris second. Here come the Class 2s. Tim Speed makes a little mistake there. Now, is that going to lose enough speed to allow Jonathan Evans to come through? And Evans is looking through on the inside, and he goes through. Fantastic manoeuvre at Sheen Curve by Jonathan Evans to take second place in Class 2. And Tim Speed will metaphorically be kicking himself for that, and he's down to third and losing championship points to the man chasing him in the table. Well, Speed's going to try and fight back here, but Steve Cheetham's going to take his first podium and his first win in the Fuel Protect Porsche Club Championship with Pirelli. There is Cheetham. There was so much to take from that race. Cheetham takes the win. Jonathan Evans in second in class, and third place goes to Tim Speed. So Gary Duckman, the outright winner from Peter Morris, who got the fastest lap. Craig Wilkins third from Paul Winter and Kevin Harrison. Then Mike Johnson and Kareem Moody. Chris Dyer ahead of Steve Cheetham, Class 2 winner. Then Jonathan Evans, Tim Speed, Richard Higgins next from Andy Toon. Hugo Holmes in 14th from Paul Seagrave. David Botterill was next. Then Jake McAleer and John Gilmore winning Class 3.
Gary Duckman, many congratulations. A great win. You were talking about maybe the problems on the start, but that was what got you in front.
Yeah, thanks very much. To be fair, I'd probably one of the best starts I've had in the Boxster. And the only place I could go was around the outside of paddock. I don't normally like doing that, but it worked a treat. I managed to get a real good run on Pete up to Druids and actually able to get in front of him before the apex of the corner, which was certainly what I was trying to do, but it's not normally possible. I seem to have the edge out on the back section through Hawthorne, Westfield, the sort of GP loop. And Pete was able to reel me back in through paddock and up to Druids. So I thought all the time I've got a little gap. He's not close enough to sort of try and throw it up the inside. But towards the end of the race, the tyres and brakes started to struggle. So I was just glad to see the checkered flag in the end.
Looking forward to the 200th Porsche Club Championship race. And the two guys I'm about to interview, first and second on the grid for that. And coincidentally, second and third in the first race today. So I'm going to have a quick word. First of all, Pete Morris, championship leader, second place, but cat and mouse with Gary, but it was just second for you there.
Second, I'll take second because I'm leading the championship. I mean, I got fastest laps. I only dropped 1 point by not coming first, and I was and it's easy to chase and leave the pack behind me. So I went for the second place win. I'm going for first place this afternoon. The second race this afternoon is going to be awesome. Especially now you told me it's a 200th edition. So I've got to win that, haven't I?
I think so too. And career wins, I think going into Donington you were tied with Mark McAleer. You're now 2 clear of Mark, but Mark's had more wins here at Brand, so you can level with him on that score.
Yeah, I'll have a go at that, yeah. Because Mark won't me out, so I think his gearbox is broke. So I'll go for another fastest lap and hopefully a win.
Let's have a quick word with Craig. Another podium. You look like you're really enjoying the weekends though, and front row for race 2 here at Brand's a good place to start.
Yeah, it's probably a good place to start. Got to be honest, in that first race I didn't feel I've got a car underneath me yet that I can push with. We're still learning the setups for Porsche Club, and when you've got old hands and Strasser who've been around a bit, then we're catching up. We're getting there. So yeah, with a bit of luck, Pete and I'll keep it clean in the second race and see if we can have a 1-2 the right way round this time.
Steve, congratulations not only on a first club podium but a first win in the championship.
Yeah, brilliant. We've been trying now for a couple of seasons, so it's nice just to do it really after all the bad luck we've had in the last few races.
Great start, and you had a huge lead. Seems to be closing up a little bit in the closing stages. The top 3 of you there in Class 2 were really close to the end.
Yeah, my tyres started to go maybe about 2 laps from the end. I was struggling a bit. I had a few sideways moments, and I was just praying for the 2 guys behind to start battling each other, and luckily they did, and it just gave me that little bit of breathing space in the last few laps to keep ahead. Yeah.
Jonathan, second position, very hard on. What a move through Sheen.
Yeah, it was a bit of a ambitious move, and thankfully Tim let me have the space to be able to do it. It was about the only place on the track I thought I stood a chance of getting through. So yeah, it was very, very pleasing to make it happen.
You made the most places up out of everybody in the race, and is that something you can emulate, do you think, in race 2?
I'll certainly give it a go. I had a pretty good start, which is unusual for me because normally I sit there on the grid spinning my wheels. But it was nice to be able to pick a few people off at the start and then get into a bit of space. Brands, you often spend nose to tail with people on the Indy circuit, so it was really good to be able to get a bit of space and push away with a little group at the front, and end up with a decent result.
Tim Speed, third place, second for so long, and an audacious move by Jonathan.
Yeah, I mean, managing to keep Jonathan, was staying behind the other way. I was just trying to get back in, and yeah, last lap, just bottled it on one corner, went a little bit wide, ended up on the grass, came back on. We were there and there, side by side, going up towards Sheen, but he had the inside line. Gave it to him, was going to try and then cut back, and we crossed the line. I don't know how far apart. It was bumper to bumper. Last year, if we got third, we'd be over the moon, and now you just beat yourself up for third, which is madness, absolute madness, you know. But no, really pleased.
So John, a lonely time out there, I guess, in Class 3, but it's good to have a Class 3 representative, and it looks like you enjoyed the GP circuit.
Yeah, GP circuit's great. When I was signing on, they were saying they only get it for 24 days a year, so that's like 8 meetings, so we're pretty lucky to be here.
Is it your first time on GP?
No, I raced it once before with the Porsche Club, probably 2008, something like that, but it's a great circuit, yeah.
Good to have you back in the championship. And Class 3, ideal for somebody maybe just thinking of sticking a toe in the water, or perhaps having something that they don't have to spend too much money on.
Yeah, totally. They're a great bunch of people to race with, and it doesn't cost a fortune. One set of tyres can get you through the whole season in this class. The cars are very affordable, so it's a good entry into racing with the Porsche Club, I think.
Mark McAleer, actually the most successful driver in terms of Porsche Club here at Brands Hatch, but none of the luck seems to be with you this year so far.
No, we seem to be having one of those seasons, I'm afraid, this year. I mean, Brands Hatch has usually been quite good to me. We've always gone quite well here, fastest laps, race wins and all the rest of it, but this year it just seems to be a nightmare. We thought we were having a good start to the year. We had obviously had a first and a second, and everything was going sort of hunky-dory, and then since then everything's gone backwards a little bit, but hopefully we'll get it fixed and we'll be back out again.
So going back to race 1, obviously a great dice with Craig. You were all over the back of him right the way through the race, and at the end you pulled up. What was the problem?
Yeah, we lost all the gears. Coming into Paddock Hill, went to change gear, no gears. Crossed around Druids and found out we had first. So I just pulled off and pulled it straight back into the paddocks. Obviously get as much time as we can to try and get it fixed for the next race.
We had a chat with Kareem Moody when we were at a rather wet Silverstone meeting, and the sun's shining here at Brands Hatch, and great that we've got these conditions. Kareem, we missed you last time though. We were at Donington Park and you weren't there. Any special reason?
Yeah, excuse me. Yeah, unfortunately it was my daughter's speech day, so her last day at school, so that had to take precedence, I'm afraid. So it was important that we all supported her in that. Then hopefully she won't be too reluctant when I ask her to come and support me in this at some subsequent occasion.
Again, I guess the drop score scenario comes into play here. It's not crucial that you do every single round, is it?
No, it's not. I mean, the drop score does really help. I think from a personal point of view, we're just here to race and have fun. So really take each individual race as it comes, rather than looking at the championship overall. But yeah, would be nice to get up there at some point in the future. But like I say, just take each race as it comes and try and enjoy it.
It is a very friendly paddock, and I warmly suggest that you come and see one of our races before the end of the year. Craig Wilkins starts on pole for this one, Peter Morris alongside, then Gary Duckman row 2 with Mark McAleer, but there's a gap. Mark didn't get the car repaired, sadly. Third row, Paul Winter and Kevin Harrison. Class 2, Steve Cheetham heading Jake McAleer, Tim Speed and Richard Higgins, Andy Toon and Paul Seagrave on row 3, followed by Jonathan Evans. So Jonathan with a bit of work to do. John Gilmore, lone Class 3 runner, is back out as well. He's in red. You can see top right of shot. So a very conspicuous gap where Mark McAleer should be, and that's going to allow Kevin Harrison to rocket through into third place. Gary Duckman's down to fourth. Mike Johnson goes round the outside of Kevin Harrison and Gary Duckman as well, so Gary, more work to do. This is Tim Speed. Steve Cheetham in black and yellow is the Class 2 poleman and leader, having taken his first win in the championship. But look at Tim Speed right the way round the outside. Now, can Speed hang on to it? It looked like a very sideways Steve Cheetham coming out of Druids. Now, how's that panned out? Let's look back. Steve Cheetham has lost ground. Tim Speed leads the class by the look of it from Jake McAleer. Steve Cheetham in third place, but Craig Wilkins got away in the race lead. There is just so much to watch in this Porsche Club racing. It's absolutely superb. Jonathan Evans is chasing. We've got number 4 of Andy Toon. He's in the mix as well. And this is the view from Steve Cheetham. Quick look in the mirrors there. Great racing awareness. Well, at least he's got that first podium. What better way to get a first podium than taking a class win? Very well earned indeed for Steve Cheetham. Jonathan Evans goes through. There's Andy Toon. Andy being chased at the moment by Hugo Holmes. There's Kareem Moody, we spoke to just before the start of the race, and following him the number 9 Strasser Cayman of Chris Dyer. As I mentioned in the interview, Chris a former overall champion as well as a class champion as well on separate years. So tremendous start. Jake McAleer in his Boxster up ahead of Steve Cheetham. Through goes the yellow 16968 of Richard Higgins with the M&M's logo on the front. Coming down through Clark Curve, Clearways into Clark Curve now, and then onto the Brabham Straight. And Jake McAleer running a bit wide. His dad Mark's going to be watching from the pit lane. I had a word with him in the holding area before. He's absolutely gutted not to be racing. As we look at Jonathan Evans, and Steve Cheetham's going to have a look at the inside of Jake McAleer. Goes through. Jonathan Evans sees the gap and goes through as well. Meanwhile, Craig Wilkins, the race leader, and up into second place now has gone Mike Johnson. So Mike Johnson second from Peter Morris. This is great. The Silatech car is running well here. Johnson, who took third place at Silverstone in race number 1, 2 fourth places followed that, a retirement at Donington Park, and very clearly on the pace in this one. Through goes 45, Paul Seagrave. There is David Botterill, whose car is just not working for him this weekend, but he's doing what all championship leaders do, or should do in this situation. That is work with what he's got, try and get some points, and I guess most importantly enjoy the Grand Prix circuit here at Brands Hatch. Kevin Harrison's working hard, and there he is, the number 6, currently chasing the championship leader Peter Morris. So Craig Wilkins is getting away here. This is ideal for Craig. Craig and Peter, a real double act as you saw on the interview, and Peter wants to get past Mike Johnson here. So we'll see how this pans out. Peter has a speculative look down the inside as they come out of Clearways, but he seems to have the pace. So Peter Morris, Kevin Harrison, Gary Duckman is there. Then it's Paul Winter, just top right of shot, goes out of shot, chasing Gary Duckman. So Gary, after his win in race number 1, friends and family that are here, very much enjoying the day. And good to see him. There's our Class 3 runner, John Gilmore, again enjoying his racing in Class 3. Class 3, as we said, ideal for anyone who wants to dip a toe in the water, so to speak. Sounds a bit of a cliche, but it's half points. You don't have to commit to the whole championship. If you've got a Porsche that's suitable for the championship, speak to Steve Kevlin, the championship director, and he'll be able to tell you where your car fits into things, and I'm sure he'd be delighted to welcome you to the championship. Gary Duckman chasing Kevin Harrison with Paul Winter in behind. And we go back to the Class 2. Steve Cheetham coming under pressure. And a great move through on the inside by Jonathan Evans to go into second place in class. And a reminder that Jonathan started 7th in class here. So he really is getting to grips with the GP circuit and getting stuck in. Kevin Harrison all over the back of Peter Morris. Look at this superb dice that we've got going on from second position down to 6th place. All close together. David Botterill still the championship leader, and David, I think, has found a little bit more in this one. He's not as adrift as he was in race number 1. So Jake McAleer goes through. There's Hugo Holmes, the Northallerton based racer. A lot of northern drivers in this championship. Not quite sure why the demographic works that way. Certainly Strasser based in Leeds would be perhaps one reason. A very strong team. They've got 2 teams. Oh, and contact between Mike Johnson and Peter Morris, and Peter backed out of that, but inevitably going up the inside. Oh, and contact as well as Johnson comes across Kevin Harrison. Gary Duckman goes round the outside of Harrison. Johnson's recovered from all that. Has Harrison recovered as well? I think he has. He's still there ahead of the silver car with the red stripe and the black rear quarters. And that's Paul Winter. My goodness me. Peter Morris then was looking up the inside to try and go past Mike Johnson, and Craig Wilkins now well clear. Peter Morris second. Bit of smoke coming out of the back of Mike Johnson's car. Kevin Harrison chasing Gary Duckman. Now, is that going to lead to a terminal problem for Mike Johnson? Craig Wilkins goes through. Gary Duckman is actually really getting on the pace now. If he'd have had a better start in this one, he could well have been pulling away at the front again. So the pace is coming, but he's down in 4th place, and he's now got to try and work his way through the sea. He's going to be worried whether that's fluid, possibly a little bit of bodywork rubbing on the tyre, maybe from that contact, that just little nudge that you get. Absolutely no malice in what Peter Morris was doing at all, of course. And these things happen in racing, and I'm sure the guys will shake hands at the end of the race. So back we go with Jake McAleer going through. Hugo Holmes in car number 24. And then down behind them it's Paul Seagrave. So Jake McAleer, it's his 2nd season in the championship, started last year with the 968 and moving into a Boxster for this season. And a young gun. The age range in this championship, we've got, let's say, youngsters like Jake McAleer, and we've got older drivers in the championship as well. There's no set age demographic that you have to race in this championship. Gary Duckman taking a wide sweep there through Surtees to try and get a run, which seems to be working for him as they come up towards Hawthorns, and he makes it. He got it complete by the time they got to Hawthorns. So Gary Duckman is up into 3rd place. Peter Morris ahead of him 2nd. There's Craig Wilkins, the leader. Through goes Morris. Duckman, Johnson, then Harrison. Big sideways moment there for Paul Winter, who spins round. Please keep it out of the barrier, and more importantly, out of the oncoming cars, which he does. So Paul Winter will rejoin, having lost a couple of places. But you can see these guys are trying so hard. And of course, when you're trying hard, it's very, very easy to go over the edge. Wilkins leads. Peter Morris second. Gary Duckman goes through. Then Mike Johnson, who seems to be okay, lost a little bit of pace. Gary Duckman, remember, was fastest man on track in any case. So he goes through, and this is the battle for the lead in Class 2. Tim Speed being hounded by the man who passed him on the last lap at Sheen Curve on race 1, Jonathan Evans, and we go in car with Jonathan chasing Tim down through Clearways and into Clark Curve. And Jonathan Evans has come up from 7th, but I'm wondering whether he might have shot his tyres. We'll have to see, and join us for that after the break. Mike Johnson here up ahead of Kevin Harrison, currently 4th and 5th in the race. The very picturesque and spectacular Grand Prix circuit at Brands Hatch, round 8 of the Fuel Protect Porsche Club Championship with Pirelli. It's a very good battle between these two. Kevin Harrison, and we saw Mike Johnson when he was running in 2nd, got the lightest of touches from Pete Morris, who's closing in on Craig Wilkins, and Gary Duckman, the winner of race number 1, is right behind Peter. So we're getting into the second half of the race, and it looks like a three-way battle. Duckman goes high and wide into Paddock Hill Bend, and this is all about the run down the hill. David Botterill dicing there with Paul Seagrave. David Botterill out front, the Strasse livery for this year, the German flag, as you can see, can be confusing if you see the camera angles from, could be a yellow car from one side, black car from the other. But David Botterill, the Class 2 championship leader, had some engine problems, which you heard him say in the interview he felt coming on at the end of Donington Park's meeting. And Paul Seagrave challenging him here for 7th place in class. So Seagrave's going to have a look, see whether he can get a run in his 964. Meanwhile, Gary Duckman is up into 2nd place. So Duckman now 2nd, Peter Morris down to 3rd, and Gary, the winner of race 1, is chasing Craig Wilkins real hard here. So Peter Morris at the moment doesn't look like he's going to match Mark McAleer's career record of 7 wins here at Brands Hatch. So Kareem Moody, he's having a terrific race as well, with Chris Dyer immediately in front. There's Kareem. Paul Winter recovering from that tank snapper earlier on, trying to get back on the pace. And Chris and Kareem, meanwhile, in front, are going to be a target or a goal for him to try and catch and pass. And at the moment, the Bournemouth driver Kareem Moody chasing down Chris Dyer. Chris comes from Bradford, and here they come across the line to tick off another lap, and it's the Cayman that goes across the line. Took a splendid outright podium in round 5 at Donington Park. So the Cayman really being developed well, coming on superbly. And here's the in-car view from Kareem Moody once again, a driver that really enjoys his racing. And you'll gather from the interview that he's here purely for the enjoyment. He loves the competition as well. Don't let's get that wrong at all, but he's dropping away at the moment from Chris Dyer. Paul Winter starting to put the pressure on Kareem. Oh, and the back end goes around again. So Paul Winter, another gyration. Thankfully nobody coming. Now, is that going to be a retirement for Paul, or is he going to get fired up? John Gilmore goes through in the 944, and meanwhile the Class 2 leaders are closing up. Tim Speed is there. Jonathan Evans in the Boxster, dab on the brakes there. He's very much on the rear spoiler of the Class 2 leader, and Evans will know that he can perhaps force Tim Speed into a mistake and take the lead. They're in potentially a little bit of traffic. Paul Winter's recovered well. John Gilmore's there. Tim Speed goes through safely. Gilmore sticks to the outside line. Jonathan Evans goes through. Evans here is chasing his 3rd win of the season. 2nd position in race number 2. The Fuel Protect car putting the Dorset car under pressure at the minute. Paul Winter still in front of them. Tim Speed will be looking in his mirrors again. We're in the Class 2 Championship. Botterill leads it. Tim Speed 2nd. Jonathan Evans is in 3rd place and closing down. He's potentially going to... He wants to try and take some more points away here from Tim Speed in the number 18. So Gary Duckman here, chasing Craig Wilkins. Craig had a non-finish in race number 2 here on the Indy circuit earlier on the year, so he's a little bit further down the table before we start to think about drop scores. And Peter Morris is not finished, is he, by any stretch of the imagination? So Morris there is still in 3rd place. It's a 3-way scrap, and Duckman's going to have a look down the inside. And also having a look, but on the outside line here, is Jonathan Evans, who goes around the outside at Surtees. Now, can he hang on to it? A lesser driver than Tim Speed would have squeezed in there, but he's into very clean, safe racing, and Evans has got the inside line as they come down Pilgrims. Pilgrim's Drop into Hawthorne Hill, up into Hawthorne's corner. Evans has got the inside line and goes through. So he passed at Sheen in race number 1. And it was the run from Surtees, the outside line at Surtees, Pilgrim's Drop, Hawthorne Hill and into Hawthorne's to take the class lead. But back to the overall race in Class 1. And as I said, we've got so much racing going on here. This has been a superb meeting. Gary Duckman has a look at the outside line. He didn't manage to get that move completed earlier on. Here are the Class 2s. Jonathan Evans still there from Tim Speed. Jonathan rides the curbs a little bit there, but he's got a couple of lengths over the second place car. Chris Dyer goes through, he's 6th. Kareem Moody is 7th in the race at the moment. Ahead of them, Kevin Harrison and Mike Johnson and the lead trio who come towards us, and Craig Wilkins here looking for his 2nd win of the season. The man from Lichfield is coming under big pressure though from Gary Duckman, who comes out of Surtees right under the rear spoiler of the race leader. And I tell you what, Wilkins is not going overly defensive here. He's still racing hard and taking pretty generous lines. Meanwhile, Kareem Moody and Chris Dyer. Oh, Moody had got in front but just loses the back end on the exit of Surtees, fires it up quickly and will recover for 7th place. Jonathan Evans is not too far behind the recovering Moody, and also Paul Winter. But now Peter Morris is getting on the case of Gary Duckman as well. This is potentially going to take the pressure off the race leader, Craig Wilkins. So Wilkins looking for his 2nd win of the year. Morris has had 4 wins so far. Gary Duckman has had 1. And this is the last lap. They come through Clark Curve and onto the Bradman Straight. It's going to be Craig Wilkins to take the win from Gary Duckman. So it's a 1st and 2nd for Gary Duckman this weekend. But Wilkins takes the win. Duckman 2nd. Peter Morris, the championship leader, takes 3rd. Mike Johnson, I think he's going to be in 4th place. Wait for Johnson. There he is, goes across the line from Kevin Harrison. And Class 2, Tim Speed's dropped away. And it's going to be Jonathan Evans who will take a 3rd win of the season in the Fuel Protect Boxster S. Here he comes across the line to take Class 2. Wilkins, the winner from Gary Duckman, who got fastest lap. Peter Morris 3rd, then Mike Johnson and Kevin Harrison. Chris Dyer 6th from Kareem Moody and Paul Winter. Class 2 goes the way of Jonathan Evans from Tim Speed in 2nd place. Richard Higgins 3rd from Andy Toon and Steve Cheetham. Jake McAleer next from Paul Seagrave. Then it was David Botterill and John Gilmore winning Class 3.
Craig Wilkins, congratulations, a great win, and you look pretty happy about it.
Yeah, I am. It's always good to come along and beat Pete, to be honest. No, it was really good, clean racing. Got to admit, at the start, I would have hoped to have got my head down and built actually even more of a gap. But when they weren't squabbling among themselves, they've still actually got just a little edge on me in terms of pace, so we've got to work on that.
Gary, a lot of work in those early stages, but also a lot of work in the later stages as well. The first part was getting through some traffic, and then you had to try and battle.
Yeah, I made one of my textbook terrible starts and ended up, I was 5th into the first sort of couple of corners, and then I got boxed in, and I sort of had to settle down and sort of follow the pack. I must try and really retain 2nd rather than try and go for 1st. So in the end, I knew there was only 2 laps left. I thought, I'm happy with 2nd. Let's just try and sort of stop Pete getting back past.
Peter, another very, very hard race.
They're getting harder. I mean, Craig's getting found the pace. I mean, he got the better start. So, yes, Craig won that one. Well done, Craig. I was running 2nd for a while. Tyres were going off. I think with the collision we had this morning, I think the camber on the back left was a bit out. I was suffering from grip on the back end. Yeah, points, 3rd and 2nd.
That's the thing.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still leading the championship, but it's getting harder.
Jonathan, congratulations. A great win and a superb race with Tim.
Yeah, it was really, really fun. Tim's very quick, and just trying to keep up with him for most of the race was a challenge. But yeah, it was really, really enjoyable.
You look like you're on the limit, particularly, say, going along Cooper Straight, going up into Surtees, and then trying to get a run. I think that's eventually where you got him.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it was a couple of opposite lock moments, but managed to hold it together. There's not a great deal of runoff as you come out of Surtees onto that straight. And the 968's a bit quicker in a straight line, so just had to hold my nerve and take the next right-hander at quicker speed than I would ordinarily, but that was good.
Tim, he got you again.
Yeah, just couldn't keep him behind me. He did so well. Good start this time. Ran the outside, worked a treat. Class 1 started to pull away, wasn't impeding me, but just couldn't get the lap times, and they gradually caught me up, and once they're on, that was it, you know.
Richard Higgins, third place in Class 2. Great result. Good to see you on the podium.
Yeah,
Good race, yeah?
Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. Brilliant race. It was a shame we just couldn't. We were on the same pace, but the start wasn't so good and could never catch them up. But that was great. I mean, from where we've had the problems, etc., we've done a few upgrades on the car. Hopefully, we're just going to get stronger and stronger.
Are they things you've worked through this weekend or things that you've worked on up to this meeting?
We knew we had a few problems right at the beginning of the year. We missed the first race. Silverstone was wet, and we realised we had to change bits and pieces. Little bit by little bit, we're just improving the car. So we know what's wrong. We've just got a few more tweaks.
Peter Morris still successfully defending the championship. He leads the table from Paul Winter, Craig Wilkins and Kevin Harrison 4th. Chris Dyer next from Gary Duckman in 6th, then Mike Johnson and Mark McAleer down to 8th. Tim Speed takes over the lead of Class 2 from David Botterill. Jonathan Evans in 3rd ahead of Andy Toon. Paul Seagrove 5th and Jake McAleer in 6th.
Terrific day's racing here at Brands Hatch, our 4th event of the Fuel Protect Porsche Club Championship with Pirelli. 5 different winners across the 2 races in the 3 classes. A fantastic day's racing. I hope you can join us next time. We're at Snetterton in Norfolk. So thanks for watching today and we'll see you next time.